Now, we'd like to get the speeches underway this evening, guys. And to start your speeches, I'd like to introduce the main man for the day, your groom, Luke. Yeah.
Thanks, sir. Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your meal. I don't know if the Americans know some of the Irish traditions about speeches, but just to clue them in, it's a lot of fun sometimes. There's going to be a lot of thank yous during a lot of these speeches, and you're going to hear it over and over and over again. So it's something that the Irish do occasionally where they put a glass in the center of their table and they fill it with a couple, oh yeah, Jenny's ready, she knows. You put it maybe a $5 or any amount of money in, and then every time somebody says thank you, you pass it along, and then whoever gets to the end has to buy a round for everybody and enjoy some money. So don't feel obliged to if you don't want to, if you don't, but just, yeah. But it's just something fun to do because you're going to hear a lot of thank yous. I should say as well that I hope you've enjoyed the quizzes and things like that. Whenever you're done with them after the speeches, you can pop them up here and I'll grade your test like we're back in school. So I hope you all did well. I hope you studied. But I'm gonna first pass it off to James, the father of the bride. He's going to do our first speech, and then we'll just go down the line here.
You have to stand up for this.
No, you don't have to do anything you want to do.
No, you can sit down if you want to.
Yeah.
Do you want to sit down?
Father Andrew, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank everyone for coming here today and celebrating Gina and Luke's wedding with us, and especially our new American family. Regina has always been a very determined lassie, a kind of a foot stomper. I will do it myself. She was only about 2 when she saw Marie going for a chocolate bar into the press and in the kitchen, and when she got Marie's back turned, she decided she'd pull out the drawers and make a little stairs for herself up onto the worktop. And then when Marie came back, nearly got a heart attack. But anyway, that determination is well matched by that of Luke's, who gave up his job and flew halfway around the world just to be with her for 2 years while she finished her studies. Regina, as Father Andrew said, is Latin for queen, and we are delighted that she has found herself a husband who will just treat her as one.
Yeah.
Gina happened to be the only one of our 3 children that was planned.
Did you know that?
She never lets the 2 boys forget it. With her 2 degrees and 2 firsts in them, a published academic, a dog owner. It's hard just to sum up Gina in just a few words, but if I had to do it, it would be a very determined, caring, incredibly intelligent person who may be just a little short. But that's not her fault, as Gary and Michael might have something to do with that. Like at Christmas time when her head collided with a hurley stick and they set up booby traps with hammers on tops of doors for her. I think the Christmas night I spent in A&E with her was one of the more relaxed ones. We couldn't be happier than to officially welcome Luke into the Brady clan. He's just a wonderful lad. And we just look forward to Gina and Luke's phone calls every Sunday evening, and we look forward to their new adventure as husband and wife. And we wish them all the luck in the world, and we can't wait to be with them there for them continue to bring joy, facts, and maybe a little board game to each room. Thank you.
That was very good. You'll have to really step up here.
I'm going to throw up. All right, so it's definitely not going to be as good as that. Oh, God. Oh, it's already started. So, yeah, having Luke as an older brother, I've been able to ask Luke pretty much for any help I've needed on anything. So it was really frustrating when I was writing the speech that I couldn't ask him to write it for me. You would not believe how many things that Lucas helped me with actually growing up. So whether it was a school project, or I needed to get something done, or advice about life, or even help with a social media argument that I got way too involved with that I shouldn't have. This whole speech process actually brought back a lot of memories of a specific project that he did for me. It was a rap I had to do for a social studies class, and it had to be about Japan, and I had to do all this stuff. And Luke wrote the whole thing, and it was a beautiful rap. And he did it the night before, and it was pristine. But then when I did the next day, boy, was it not as good as Luke did it. So I know what you might be thinking. Wow, Luke is just such a great brother. But you know, that wasn't always the case. So probably until I was 16 years old, we did not get along very much.
We didn't speak.
Yeah, there was not a lot of speaking, or there was either a lot of bickering, and I would probably bite him for some reason. You know, that was my go-to move when I wanted to make sure that I won the argument. I just bite him. So that it's been very, very different now that we've kind of grown up. So as teenagers, Luke was a tad more moody than I was, and I was kind of an angel as teenagers. So it's now that we're here, we're on speaking terms a lot more of the time. But it really wasn't until Luke moved out of the house that we kind of became like best friends, which is kind of a weird coincidence. So once Luke moved out, we started to chat regularly about pretty much everything. However, one thing that Luke and I never discussed was our dating lives. So Luke had probably only ever talked to me about two other girls. I don't think I've ever heard him talk about another female. So when I heard about Gina, it was kind of a big thing. So I kind of thought that maybe before Gina kind of came along, I thought that maybe Luke would be the cool, lonely uncle that my future kids would go hang out with, but Gina kind of spoiled that for me. So I really barely met Gina so I met her one time, and then it was like 2 weeks, maybe a month or so went by, and Luke kind of told us that, oh, I'm moving to Ireland. So that was a big thing. So I didn't really get to know her really well. So I didn't really get a first impression other than this one. I think we went and met at an Italian restaurant, and I talked to her for like a half hour. So it was very, very short. But sorry, I lost my place. Sorry. Oh God, yeah, Luke. This is where Luke would step in. So the only thing, start the wrap up. Now, so when they decided to go to Ireland, I was kind of fine with it. I was really like, you know what, that's fine with me. I'm really okay with him kind of going to Ireland, but I just didn't want to drive them. That was the only thing I didn't want to do because I'm really not good at goodbyes. So only meeting Gina one time, I drove them to the airport because I got sucked into do it somehow. No one else was available that day, I guess. But I drove them to the airport, and I got there. They got all checked in. It was completely fine. And after only meeting Gina once, I just completely sobbed in the airport. And I was like, oh, that's a good first impression on my part to Gina. But I will say, as soon as I left and kind of went home, it was the best 2 years of my life. So it's kind of been not the same since you've come back. So you know how the best man usually has like an aha moment of, this is the girl my brother's going to marry? Yeah, I didn't really have that. Maybe I would have had that moment if I had spent with more than one day with me. However, I know Luke had that moment, that aha moment. I hope he's okay with me sharing the story. I don't know if he's going to mention it at all, but so after Luke had his first date with Gina, he actually got pulled over for speeding. Now, I'm not sure if anyone's ever driven the car with Luke before, but he naturally drives fairly fast. But on this particular time, I'm pretty sure he was going 20 to 30, maybe even more than 20 or 30, over the speed limit. And so this was after the first date he had ever had with Gina. And the officer comes up and was like, do you know how fast you were going? And he said, I really don't. I know I was going over the speed limit. But I just met the person that I know I'm going to end up with, and I'm absolutely going to marry, that I love her. So I guess you could say that Luke knew when he was going to marry, and I guess when he told me that story, I knew that was when they were going to get married. Like, that was the telling story, but that was his big moment. Anyways, I didn't know at this time, I didn't know at the time, but I now realize that Luke's move to Ireland would be the best decision that Luke has ever made. Having Gina around has been an absolute joy for my entire family, and there's no one I would rather call my sister-in-law. And it's funny to me because ever since Gina came along, I've actually been talking to her more about my problems than I did Luke before. But I've truly never seen my brother happier, and it has been a blessing to see him in a less moody mood ever since Gina came along. And on behalf of everyone in my family, we are so thankful that these two met, and we look forward to seeing many happy years between them.
Very good. Now my father.
Okay, how do I follow Jack? I'm going to start out with just saying, go ahead and put your money in the glass, because I have to say thank you so much to everyone in this room, especially the Bradys, Annette Pother, the Harrises, our family. Thank you so much. Ireland is a tremendous country. We love it. And it's so nice to be part of Ireland. And with any luck, maybe one day we'll come back for a baptism or something. You know, I talked to Father Andrew. He's willing, so no pressure or anything. But I just want to talk a little bit about some phases of Luke's life. When he asked me to talk, I thought, well, let's think about it. And I asked my wife, Ann, and 33 years ago, we got married. And we thought when we were married, what foundation would we like to base our life on? And if anyone that wasn't present at the Hag the other night, there's one word that describes my wife. It's kind. Be kind to people. Give kindness, kindness comes back. So we sort of said, when Luke was born 31 years ago, what do we want him to be like? We want him to be kind. Mainly, if you can be kind to someone, it'll come back. And then we thought, let's provide opportunities as we can and make good choices. When you make a choice, make a good choice. Off to school, make a good choice, Luke. Be a good boy. He always was. He made good choices. Teachers would call us, oh, Luke's doing great in school. Make good choices, Luke. We love it. This guy's a little different. But he learned. So the second phase of testing Luke and his ability to stay kind was when Jack was born. 5 years old, and now he has a sibling to share with that might bite him. Luke was very kind to his brother. Made good choices. Always, he may not like the choice to give the toy away, but he made the choice, and it was a good one. Making good choices, he has always done it. And you heard Jack say throughout their life, Luke has continued to do that even now. If you need him, he's there. You can FaceTime him. You can ask him for help. If you need help in a debate, an argument, a paper, he's there. He may not like it, but he makes the good choice to help out. He doesn't ask twice. He'll do it. So that continued throughout his life. Let's move forward a little bit. Samantha came along, the second sibling. Again, now you have two choices, a boy and a girl. I've got to split again, share my things. He made good choices. He accepted Samantha. Further on, he ends up going to college, graduates, and becomes a behaviorist, basically, working with severely autistic children. An extremely hard and wonderful job. And he found his niche. Loved it so much that, it's where he met Gina, and loved it so much that one Christmas we start getting all these Amazon packages delivered to our home. I didn't order them, Ann didn't order them. Where are these packages coming from? Luke says, well, they're mine. Don't worry about them, they're mine. What are you doing with the packages, Luke? Making good choices. He wrapped these gifts up and gave them to children that he was seeing, these severely autistic children that most aren't loved sometimes, are loved, and they really don't know how to receive love, anonymously put these gifts under the tree for each one of those children. That's quite a feat. That's a great choice. Anonymously giving his time, money, heart, without the need of saying thank you or his name on it to those children. Made a good choice. He makes good choices. And you don't have to tell him. He's kind. He met Gina. Moving forward, He calls my wife one day and he says, Mom, I'm going to be quitting my job and moving to Ireland with Gina. And this was 2 weeks after we met Gina. I met her, she's lovely, and I thought, okay, great. When? 2 weeks. Wow, what a choice. I was like, oh my God. He's made a choice to give up those children, his profession, his car, his apartment, everything a young person starts out with for Gina. And I only knew her from one meeting 2 weeks ago. But I trusted in his ability to be kind and make the right choice. Thank God he made that choice. What a choice it was, Gina. He met you, and you helped him create the foundation that Ann and I started years back to start in the church, bring him up with those same beliefs of being kind and make good choices. And then he meets you. And the foundation that he helped with you create in Galway for 2 years is rock solid. I see it. I feel it. I feel it in the family. I feel it that you guys will have anything you want to do in life if you just keep that foundation going, that you work together. And I see it and feel it. And I'm so proud of you both. And I can't say anything else but sláinte. I hope I said that right. Sláinte.
And now the beautiful bride would like to say something, and so give her all your greatest attention.
Well, do you know if I get up? See, you can want to sit.
Yeah, I'll just stay here. Sorry, that took me a bit.
A bit emotional.
I'm not going to keep you. This is going to be really, really short. I just wanted to tell the story of when I met Luke, and I had just moved to the States, and I had just gotten out of a 4-year relationship and was not thinking about meeting anybody. I was starting this new job that Luke's dad already talked about, that we were working in a house, a residential place for kids with autism, very severe autism, and I was really focused on my new job, or should have been. And it was my first day, and in walks this guy. And now when I say I just got out of a 4-year relationship, I mean I days was out of this relationship, was not looking for anybody. And this guy walks in, and he had one of the kids on his back, one of my favourite kids, our 5-year-old.
If we're allowed to have favorites.
was on his back, and the first time I ever seen him, my first thought, and this is not like me, very not like me, was that is the man I'm going to marry. And so he was great. I was very nervous, and he had a weird accent, but it was fine. And he showed me around the house, and he was great with all the kids, which obviously is a big plus. He made me feel so comfortable at the lodge where we were working. And so I go home, and I tell my friend, I was living with 2 Irish girls, and I tell them, Niamh, that's it. This is it. I need to figure out, I need to just look at the schedule and make sure that I see this guy again. So I look at my schedule, and Luke's not on there. He's not working with me any day. And at the time, I didn't realise his name was Stephen. So I later figure out that his first name is actually Stephen, and it's fine. And he actually is working in the same house as me. And I'm going to get to see him again, and I wasn't so devastated. And so anyway, then Niamh says to me, okay, this is great, but does he have a girlfriend? And I was like, oh, I hadn't really thought about that. I just kind of assumed he didn't. So anyway, then I go in on a hunt. I have to figure out if this fella has a girlfriend. Like, how do you figure that out? It's not as easy as looking for a ring on a finger. I have to figure this out. But I have to be subtle about it, just in case he does, and I work with him, so it'll be awkward. So I'm upstairs. The place that we were it was a weird building, and it was like a little house, a lodge house, and upstairs you could be in the office and looking down on everybody below, and they didn't really know you were up there. So I was up there eavesdropping, and I could hear him downstairs telling all the girls about his birthday. So I just listened in, and he tells all the girls, oh yeah, I'm taking her out for, our birthdays are actually a day apart, so I'm taking her out for a meal. Or not taking her out, but we're going out for a meal. Devastated. like, well, fuck, he has a girlfriend. So I go home and I tell Niamh, look, he has a girlfriend, it's over, it's not worth it. I'm not even going to bother trying anymore. And I later find out that was actually his mother that he was talking about, and he didn't have a girlfriend. So it was fabulous, and then one thing led to another, and he ended up coming to Ireland with me, not that long after. And yeah, thank you. I did really quickly, I'm just going to be really annoying now and just say a few thank yous. Luke is probably going to do it, but I just really want to thank my own parents and tell you how lucky I felt to grow up with 4 parents. I don't just have mommy and daddy, but I have a net and father too. I know I am truly, truly blessed in this life that I really did grow up with 4 parents. They all did different jobs for me. All of them came in handy in very different ways, which was great. And now I have 2 new parents. So I'm absolutely blessed that I now have 6 parents. And I just want to thank everybody, especially them people who all came from the States. Thank you so much for coming all the way over here. Thank you, Kat. I really appreciate it. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not cheap, and we really appreciate everybody coming over and spending our day with us. And then I want to thank Lizzie. Could not have done it without you. This woman should be professionally a maid of honour. It was fabulous. Except for this bit, I helped you. And all of the bridesmaids, thank you so much for everything that you've done, and I guess the groomsmen too, but mostly the bridesmaids did a lot of jobs for me. Everybody who helped out, Matt and Marie, thank you so much. They did an awful lot behind the scenes, and we really, really, really appreciate it. I've definitely left people out, but I love you all, and if I didn't say thank you to you, I'm sorry, I meant to. Thank you very much.
I'm just your last one here, and then you can get on to your dessert. So you can just ignore me for a bit, and then dessert will come. But for now, you'll forgive me for how solemn this all is. I'm not a big joker, really, so I'm just a very serious person. And thank God I have these lively people to keep me happy and joking, because like my brother said, I'm a very moody guy. I've been through hundreds and hundreds of things to say, but of course, none of my thoughts can ever really convey what I truly mean. So these ramblings will just have to do. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and thank you for all the help we received to get here, both in this wedding and this life. Thank you so much. As it said in our mass booklet, I don't know if you saw at the back there, we could not be here without all of you, and that is not even mentioning the multitude of those that could not be here with us today. So I just want to take a moment to thank them as well, wherever they are, whether it's just up the road there, it's overseas, or just within our hearts. So thank you, all of you. And I especially want to thank and remember Gina's Nana. I know we all really wish she was here today, and we can take solace in knowing how happy she'd be to see this fine collection of friends and people and family all together at last. So thank you very much. From the very first moment I met Brady, I was mystified as to how someone could be so wonderful, so beautiful, so impressive, that frankly, I assumed she was some kind of Irish glamour. Like my eyes and my heart were playing tricks on me, and for some unknown reason I couldn't figure out. I thought I was perhaps bewitched like all those Irish tales of yours of old, but she was real. But then I had the great privilege of living here and living with her family and meeting all of them and meeting all of you. And just as quick as I had fallen in love, all those mists I had were cleared from my eyes, and it was obvious as to why she's as wonderful as she is. She comes from a wonderful place and a wonderful family, so thank you. She's at the very least a product of her environment, and she is that and so much more. So I'm left with one final great mystery in my life, and that is what I ever did to deserve such luck as this. Such a blessing as my wife. And though I intend to spend the rest of my life earning the right to those good fortunes, it does make me really curious how I got here. It is true that I also possess an amazing family, great teachers and exemplars for being the best man a man could be. I have a father I've always called my yardstick, someone I could measure myself up against, and every time I had a question, I just thought, what would my dad do? And that's a blessing like no other. And I have a mother so balanced in her love that I think she can embrace the worst in this world and make them want to seek redemption and be good in their lives. And another blessing I can't account for. You've met them all, you've heard them speak here, and you know they're wonderful people. But outside the bounds of such support, something deep within me, something untouchable, never ever felt quite right. Like my brother said, I'm a moody guy. I was always just kind of apart. I don't know how that is, but something that told me I didn't belong in this world as I was or how I was born. And you can ask anyone in my family, for all that I have been content, I had also been equally discordant somehow in my life. I'm a strange and prickly son of a bitch at the best of times, and again, to say it plainly, that is in spite of the gift of an upbringing I had. For whatever reason, the deep speck in me, I'd always felt lost since as far back as I can remember. Real lost. And I just thought it inexplicable. I thought I'd never figure it out. And I'm sure this world is full of folks that have felt that way at some point in their lives, and I was never alone in that, but I have a theory. They say that God answers all prayers, but the answer isn't always yes. Sometimes you have to wait for a yes. Sometimes it's no. And I think by some miracle, after 24 years of my life, suddenly I was that blessed few that got their yes, and I got the answer to all my prayers. There's a bit of that old hat about a lover's heart having a piece missing, and then finding the one that fills the other half of you. And yeah, that's very much true. It's very true. But it has always been more than that for me. And the best way I can express it is by a strange metaphor, and you'll have to forgive me for this. If anyone has ever fallen ill, real bad, such that it hurts to walk, it hurts to swallow, it hurts to breathe, hurts somewhere inside you so bad that sometimes it even hurts to live. And sometimes it goes on long enough you've forgotten what it was like to feel well again, what it was like to feel good. And the pain has become a second nature to you somehow. But then you wake up one day, and either through hard work or the passage of time, you can breathe deep again. You can swallow, and there's no pain. You can get up, and you can feel yourself, and you feel human. And the pain is receded, and everything's good again. And that's how I've woken up every day since I met Brady. Today is honestly the best day of my life, and before that it was the day that we got her immigration status in America so she wouldn't have to be deported away from me, and before that it was meeting her, and all before that, all the best days of my life have come just down the row over and over and over again. So I'm on a high. So talk to me tomorrow and it'll probably be the best day of my life again. But I have to say, she takes all my pain away, and pain I didn't think I'd ever be without. She's not only the love of my life, she's my home. And best of all, she makes all the worst parts about me okay. Brady, I think you are the kindest, brightest, most generous person I've ever met. You are always in my thoughts, and because of that, you make me a better man than I ever deserved to be. Despite all my curiosities and theorizing, if I know one thing in this world for certain, and that just one thing, it's that I exist only to love you. God bless you all for coming and making our commitment all the more official. Thank you so much. You're all so lovely. Thank you.